As I film this, it's Sunday, September 11th, and people are not letting go of the Kiely Rodni case until they get answers. Right now, Kiely is even trending on Twitter. Yesterday, Saturday, September 10th, was Kiely's celebration of life service, and Kiely's mom gave a statement to the press that we will go over prior to the celebration of life, and it's getting a lot of feedback, I'll say. Sammi Smith also spoke, and Kiely's friend Mags also spoke. I'm going to try and shrink myself down in this video as we talk about these updates so I can play a lot of the Adventures with Purpose footage. AWP's video is pretty much the only solid evidence we have in the Kiely Rodni case until law enforcement releases more information, something solid about what happened to Kiely. So I will just play different iterations of the video, and I put different filters on the video. I put it in slow motion. I didn't unblur it. I don't think anyone can unblur the censored video footage that AWP blurred, despite all the crazy things you've heard online and people going a little nuts over it. People are kind of flipping out over Sammi Smith singing and partying at Donner Lake prior to a YouTuber, Check It TV, finding Kiely's alleged laptop and turning it over to her family. I believe it is in the custody of police now, so I hope that's very helpful. And we have folks on YouTube and in the Facebook groups debunking the notion that Kiely's seatbelt strap was hanging out of her hatch. So you will see me pause the video and put different notations about which items online sleuths found in the video from AWP in Kiely's car. Unfortunately, when law enforcement told AWP to get out of there, that they would handle it, the way the vehicle was brought out of the water isn't the way that AWP would have done it. They would have wrapped the car and perhaps floated it up and preserved a lot more evidence instead of flipping it and letting things fall out. If you want to watch actual video of Kiely's celebration of life, check the links below. It was really hard to hear, but I transcribed some of it. Mags, Kiely's best friend, spoke with the group of teenagers that spoke in a group, but they didn't individually say their names. We know Mags was up first. She said, "To me, Kiely was the most magical, beautiful, vibrant soul I will ever find in my life." Mags explained that Kiely's favorite word was fabulous. That's why we heard that word quite a bit. Mags talked about her and Kiely calling each other soulmates, their other half, their sister. She was her greatest joy. Next, a guy got up there and spoke, but I didn't catch his name, and he didn't sound like Jagger. He didn't totally sound like Jagger. And he spoke and he handed the microphone to his sister, Aspen. The things he said did not sound like it could have been Jagger, but who knows? The video footage was from very far away, but I was grateful someone recorded it. Sammi spoke next, and then she gave the microphone to a girl who really showed deep emotion, speaking about Kiely coming into her life fast and hard. It was a speech she had written, I guess 5 seconds prior, because she didn't know she'd be speaking yesterday. But she spoke with a bunch of feeling and emotion as she spoke of going to Mexico with Kiely and riding ATVs. Another girl spoke, calling Kiely one of the badass girls in hockey. She met Kiely as a young girl. But let's dig into Sammi's speech. Sammi's speech seemed pre-written, and you couldn't hear Sammi give off much emotion. As per usual, you couldn't hear Sammi give off a lot of emotion. Her speech contained some of those truly kind of cliche type of sentiments. Sammi wrote, "A smile is one of the most beautiful things you can be blessed with in this world, but a smile from Kiely, one of the most memorable, but it was never rare. Whether you were one of her customers at Cha or you were with her jamming out in her car, she sang her heart out." Now, we might remember that Kiely worked at Cha Fine Teas of Truckee. People there were still, weeks ago, in shock and belief that Kiely wouldn't be coming home. According to ABC 10, Kiely worked at Chaw Fine Teas of Truckee for about 1.5 years. Cindy Shippey is co-owner of the store. Cindy remembers Kiely as a hard worker who bonded with everyone at the store. It's that bond that has left her co-workers in mourning. So that's what Sammi was referring to when she spoke of Chaw. But Sammi continued when she said Kiely's smile was so bright it would grace anyone's day. Every moment that I spent with Kiely, whether it be a few moments or many hours, I never felt uneasy, Sammi said. Folks are wondering why she said I never felt uneasy. Sounds as if, according to her, she spent many hours with Kiely. So even though some people say, oh, Sammi and Kiely weren't really great friends, maybe they weren't best friends, but according to Sammi yesterday, she has spent many hours with Kiely. Sammi said she made every space feel welcoming and she welcomed everybody into her life. One of the last genuine times that I was able to spend with her was right after my trip to Peru. Now, we don't know when Sammi went to Peru, but people are wondering, that was a little strange. They're thinking, why was this one of the last genuine times you spent with Kiely, as opposed to the night of the party when Kiely went missing? Maybe that wasn't genuine because they weren't one-on-one. That's my conjecture. Because Sammi went on to explain, when she saw me, her big, beautiful green eyes creased with her gorgeous smile that made her whole face light up as she yelled my name and ran around the counter at her work just to give me a hug. So that whole face lighting up, it's such a cliche in true crime that it's one of those things that you hear all the time. Somebody knows something, their smile lit up a room, things like that. Sammi went on to say about Kiely, her embrace is unforgettable. With that warm, passionate hug, I felt at home and I felt loved. We sat and talked about everything that had happened while I was gone. And we laughed and I cried and she gave me a free boba, that's those teas, bubble teas, even though it was against the rules at work. So I feel like that's the deepest point right there, that Sammi got into some emotion or some truth. She spoke about sitting with Kiely, coming back from Peru, Kiely giving her a big hug, laughing, and Sammi crying. So she might just be one of these people that don't show emotions easily in front of others, which I can understand. Sammi said she was the most fabulous light to shine in this world, and the pain of having to continue on without her is unimaginable. But if you look at just the right time, when the orange touches all things around, when the sun sets, you know she's there. When her light shines down on you from the stars up above, you know she's there. And when you smell the lovely smell of every flower in the field, you know she's there. While she may not be with us here physically, she lives on, and she will forever be with us. Stay fabulous for Kiely. So Sammi's was a nice tribute. It kind of reminded me of stuff I said to my mom after her dad died. Back then, I didn't really know the Bible, and I didn't have, I feel like, depth, the meat to offer her. And so I kind of gave her a poem of, like, you know, in the stars or in this or that, your loved one is there. So I think it's a nice sentiment to remember a person. People have a lot to say about the entire celebration of life. But let's talk about Lindsay Rodni Neiman's statement. It aired prior to the celebration of life. Some people didn't understand it. Some people thought, you know, folks were ignoring Kiely's mom because they were walking by, but obviously Lindsay just wanted to give a statement to the media and let that suffice as her statement. I'm still not clear over whether this celebration of life was open to the public or not. A lot of things have changed. I believe the initial invite was, come celebrate Kiely. But after more of the brouhaha came out about Lindsay's alleged statement against AWP, or just the way she was reportedly not notified and all that stuff, I'm not sure if the celebration of life was more closed off. The statement Lindsay read was, "We are so grateful to have the opportunity to join together today with our friends, family, and community in Kiely's name. Though we gather together, grief and healing is such a personal and individual thing. Today we will honor Kiely in honoring each other and holding each other up as we grieve in our own ways." One thing when you watch Lindsay's statement, you'll notice she does enunciate and kind of do an upspeak to her words. And people are saying, look, that's not a California thing. We don't talk that way. I like to over-enunciate some words because speaking English sometimes can be a challenge. It's one of the most difficult languages people speak of learning. But with Kiely's mom, I don't know if she had a sedative. I don't know what was happening. But that's one thing people are commenting a lot on when you watch her mannerisms, her way of speaking, and the substance of how she's going to close this speech off. Despite all the controversy with Kiely's mom, I still like that AWP just said, look, she's a grieving mom. None of us want to be in her shoes. I think of her giving this speech, she spoke slowly and carefully, and it was obviously pre-written. But I can't even imagine, I wouldn't want to imagine being her, even being able to stand there and compose yourself and speak through such grief. And you see different B-roll footage of her hugging people, receiving long hugs of support. You can't help but feel sorry for her, no matter what quirks or whatever's going on. People online are commenting a lot about it, but we just can't help but feel compassion for her. Lindsay went on to say, we'll laugh, dance, share stories, songs, and poetry, or maybe we'll cry in the corner or at the podium. It's all okay. We'll remember and we'll create new memories as we all learn how to move forward in a world where we miss her. We are so blessed to be able to miss her together and to walk together into tomorrow. The way that she has brought everyone together, even in death, is a legacy that I will cherish forever. I'm hearing stories about people wanting to be nicer to each other in her memory. Kiely's dear friend recently told her mom that before all of this happened, she thought the word community had no real meaning, that it didn't really exist. But after Kiely went missing, the way our community showed up in full force showed her that it is, in fact, so very real and so powerful. So Lindsay is, I guess, speaking of her local Truckee community. All throughout the celebration, you will hear them praising all these local businesses and the way Truckee citizens rallied together, which is great. I didn't pick up one word of thanks. I couldn't hear, and I could be wrong because I wasn't there. I'm sure I didn't hear the whole thing, but no one gave any kudos to Adventures with Purpose. And of course, they're not out there seeking all the glory. They don't go to the funerals. They don't do all that. But I'm wondering, why is there so much animosity? Of course, some people don't agree with maybe however the notification process happened, and we feel for that too. But I feel there's a deeper level of, maybe it's Lindsay thinking, we are mountain people, this is our town, these are our cops, we stick together, because at the end she's going to say, we got this, in a way that there's animosity almost from the beginning, even before AWP came. Maybe not even wanting to be there. I'm not saying they needed to be welcomed into town with a parade, but I'm saying not even being there by their side to see if they found anything, and that would have been hours and hours and exhausting and everything. But so much maneuvering happened before AWP got there. It makes you wonder, what is with this local protectiveness, almost like we don't need you outsiders? And I guess they expected AWP to find nothing. I guess they had full faith in their local law enforcement, but facts are, their local cops did not find Kiely, AWP did. But back to the end of her statement, that kind of impact on our teens gives me hope. So she made sure to talk about how the community positively affected a teenage friend of Kiely. So she has been a staunch supporter of these teens. And I get it because they've been going through a hard time. We outright have people claiming allegedly that Jagger was the one ID'd by the tow truck guy. And you have people out there saying that. But again, I'm waiting for law enforcement to bring out some facts. Folks have gone pretty hard on Jagger and Sammi and different people. And I know they're just teenagers. And again, everyone's innocent until proven guilty. So I understand why Lindsay would feel the need to be protective over these teenagers. So she made it clear in her speech that's what she's doing. The demonstration of strength and togetherness and the way that they have an army of supporters standing behind them will carry them far as they enter adulthood. We would like to thank everyone who has come together to support us in what we hope will be the most difficult time of our lives. So I see what she's doing. These teens have an army of supporters behind them. It's smart because even though we might see some inconsistencies, it isn't smart to start accusing teenagers of, oh, how could you do this? How could you leave Kiely? How could you do this? You probably did that to her. And then what if after all these suspicions, cops come back and say, oh, it was just an accident. Kiely was just driving under the influence and that's what happened. That's a possibility. I'm assuming today I'm feeling like that'll be a very rare possibility, but it's still a possibility that Kiely did all of this to herself without any other person being criminally liable or culpable in her demise. We have to wait and see. So it's smart, I guess, to support the teens because Lindsay's going to talk about the beast of social media. But at the same time, we have to keep an open mind, even though we don't necessarily speak all of our suspicions. She continued, we would like to thank everyone who has come together to support us in what we hope will be the most difficult time of our lives. So she wants this, of course, to be the worst. Who would want anything worse? There's no way that we'll be able to ever return the kindness, generosity, and compassion that has been extended to us over the last month, but we will live the rest of our lives trying. And in that trying, Kiely will be with us, reminding us to be kind, laugh, and sing, and that sometimes it's even okay to cry. In closing, I want to thank our media friends for respecting our request to give us privacy while we celebrate my daughter today. So this sounds like a change in tune because previously, I believe I read the celebration was open to everyone. Unfortunately, the social media frenzy has become such a monster that our teens are suffering, and we want to create a safe space for them to heal together without fear of something being taken out of context. So I get it, she just wanted a safe space for them to celebrate. She said, to anyone who gains pleasure or satisfaction from commenting online, I ask you to take a moment to look inward and to try and recognize your motive. Remember the 3 gates that all words should flow through. Is it kind? Is it true? Is it helpful? I thought that was pretty good. I don't know what she meant by commenting online, as if none of us have the right to report or give commentary on the case, or did she just mean evil commentary? Anyway, she continued, I implore you to remember that there is honor in silence and there is kindness in minding your own business. Now that's the part that really got to people. There's a way to phrase things without mind your own business, because we get into these cases because people are imploring others, please, we need recognition. You know, she was commenting when Kiely went missing, spread the word, help find Kiely. And now she's saying, mind your own business. It reminds me of some of the cases I've covered, and hopefully others won't turn out like this. But some cases I've covered similarly, where I really start digging into it. This one girl, I won't mention her name, I got really busy into digging into her case and finding out all this info, and her family's like, please help, please help. You know, I researched for hours and I put up a video about it. All of a sudden, the girl turns up somewhere and she wants her privacy, so she puts out a privacy strike against the video, so I just take it down. I could just tell you so many stories. I mean, it's almost like blackmail in a way. You know, you create a video about a certain situation and people get like, oh, they freak out because you've created the video, and I won't go deeper on that. But the point is, we create these true crime videos, we do all this research to help get facts out, to get the word out, and sometimes the cases get so emotional they can turn on a dime, and sometimes you're treated like the enemy. I feel like AWP is being treated like the enemy when they shouldn't be treated that way, because facts are, again, they found Kiely. But Lindsay did say, you are talking about the death of my child, our community's child. It's time to let our children mourn their friend quietly, peacefully. I hope you can find other more beautiful and helpful ways to spend your time and remember Kiely. Call your mom, take a walk, pick up a new hobby. Please know we got this. Let her rest. So let me know what you think of all that. If you see anything in the footage I've been playing that I haven't picked up on, comment on that too. But people are noticing scrapes on the back of the car. They're noticing all these different things that of course could have happened even before Kiely owned the car, but it is curious. Ephesians 5:13-14. But all things become visible when they are exposed by the light of God's precepts. For it is light that makes everything visible. For this reason he says, awake, sleeper, and arise from the dead, and Christ will shine as dawn upon you and give you light. I think it is honorable and beneficial to Kiely to shine the light of truth over what happened to her, not to embarrass her. It's not about finding the toxicology and autopsy reports and medical examiners' findings to tarnish her name or anything like that. We have all fallen short of the glory of God. It's not to shame her or her friends or anyone. I mean, I know as a teenager, God saved me out of many scrapes. Lord knows what a toxicology report would have shown for me during certain times of my life. So it's not about that. Finding justice for Kiely just means finding out the truth. It means finding out the truth and what really happened to her, whether it is truly 100% an accident or an accidental overdose or foul play and people need to be arrested. That remains to be seen. But those of us just strictly seeking truth and trying to, discern from all these rumors what is true, not falsely blaming anyone, but just seeking the truth, because the call was put out there about this missing 16-year-old girl, and a social media frenzy arose as a result of it. It doesn't mean we're wishing the family ill will, because we want to see this case through to the end, cut through any law enforcement red tape or any corruption or anything that's truly going on. Does not mean that we are attempting to harass the family or harass teens or anything like that. Unfortunately, in some of these cases, people do put out the call for help, and then when help comes, it just goes awry. We will see what else we can find out as I continue to research other cases like I've done with Eliza Fletcher, Suzanne Morphew updates on my other channel, and of course as we wait for results in Kiely's case. So thanks for watching all that. Thanks for commenting. I hope we can just still cover things respectfully and responsibly, but just not be ordered to be totally quiet as if we're all being painted with one bad brushstroke, because we're not. That's not what we're here for. Thanks for watching.